Hello, and thank you for joining us for Inside the Newsroom, the show where I take you behind the headlines of our top stories with our staff members who put them together. I'm your host, Joey Taylor, and today we're going to take a break from our usual show to actually get to know the amazing people who put together our stories for KELOLAND. First, we're going to bring in someone who is no stranger to the digital desk, and that is our Sydney Hoyer. Sydney, thank you so much for being here. You also brought a little guest.
I do. This is Zoe, my 11-year-old Chihuahua.
All right. Well, Zoe, welcome to the digital desk. I know this is your first time here. So, Sydney, for our viewers, they always see your stories, but we obviously don't talk much about ourselves. So, tell us a little bit about Sydney.
Yeah, so I've worked here at Kelo coming up on 2 years now. I started as an intern, then went part-time, and now, of course, I'm full-time as a reporter. Brought my dog here because I absolutely love my dogs. I have more at home, but she's travel size, so she was kind of the perfect option to bring on here today. I love traveling, spending time with my family.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and travel size is absolutely correct there, literally pocket size. But let's chat a little bit more so about your family. We can put up some photos here that you provided. Talk to me just a little bit about your family and the support that they give you.
Yeah, so last year I got married. We have a picture of us with all of our dogs that, of course, had to be involved in the wedding, too. Like I said, really love my dogs. So, yeah, that was a awesome day. All of our family came together for that. And then we also got to go to Colorado after that for our honeymoon. So that was fun. I have lots of cousins. I love spending time with them as well. They're kind of all over the place now. We have some in Florida, some across the state. But we have in this photo this Christmas time, so we were all kind of together for that. So that was super fun.
Absolutely. Well, and I really want to give a shout out to some family members of yours right here as well.
Yes. So my grandma is a very avid KELOLAND Plus watcher. So, of course, we had to give her a big shout out. It's my grandma Rose, and then my grandpa Larry is on there as well.
Absolutely. Well, and like you mentioned, you are absolutely in love with all of your dogs. Now, we have Zoe here in this digital studio, but let's talk about some of your other dogs.
Yeah, so we have 3 of my 5 dogs are rescue dogs. And 3 of them, not the same 3, are senior dogs as well. So I have a very specific thing that I really love. But I've got a pit bull and then 2 puggles. And then our baby of the family is the blue heeler. She is full of energy. So
Absolutely. I completely understand that. And I have met all of your dogs, so I absolutely know how that goes. But Sydney, let's talk just a little more about work here a little bit. Talk to me a little bit about what inspired you to pursue journalism and really get going on that career path.
Yeah, when I was starting college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I started out with no major, no exact plan in mind. I knew I loved writing, though, so journalism was something that stuck out, and so I gave it a shot, and it stuck. I've loved it ever since. I wrote less broadcast, more just newspaper style in college, and then came here, got that taste of broadcast, fell in love, never turned back. So, like I said, coming up on almost 2 years here.
Absolutely. Well, and what has been some of your favorite stories to work on?
Yeah, so in May, I got the really cool opportunity to go on a Midwest honor flight. This takes a bunch of veterans over to Washington, D.C. for the day, and I was welcomed along as their media person for the day. And so you get to interview these people, these veterans who are getting to experience our nation's capital, some of them even for the first time. And, of course, this is a free trip for them. They just get to see so many cool things. So it was awesome to be able to experience that and see them experiencing that as well. Here I got to anchor the morning show for the first time a couple months back now, and that was a fun experience. You got to get up crazy early, but it was worth it for sure. Getting here at 3:30 was worth being able to be on the show. I got to co-anchor with Travis here.
Yeah. Well, and so for you, if you had to choose your favorite Sioux Falls spot. So now we're going back to personal. I just really wanted to talk about work because I love journalism. So I love hearing everybody else's, inspiration and what they love about their job. But if you had to choose your favorite Sioux Falls spot, it's the question I ask literally everyone. What would your favorite Sioux Falls spot be?
I think I'm going to have to go with Josiah's here in downtown Sioux Falls. For a couple of reasons. One, I think they have a great selection of it. You got your breakfast food, kind of a brunch sort of vibe. And also, coming back to my probably most talked about topic at this point, is there are dogs allowed to be in there. So I think pretty much all of my dogs at this point have been to Josiah's at one point or another.
Well, you
and they love
celebrated
it.
Peach's birthday there,
Yes,
correct?
yes. My pit bull just turned 13, Peaches, and we brought her there for her birthday. Yes, I invited some of my family, and she got some snacks, and they brought her presents, and it was a whole event.
All right. Well, and so what's Zoe's favorite Sioux Falls spot?
You know, Zoe,
I think she needs to tell us.
okay, sorry. Come here, Zoe. She really loves, well, she really does love being home. As long as there are people with her, specifically me or my husband with her, my mom, she also really loves. Or she loves to be in the car. If you were leaving and you're going to go for a car ride, she has to come with. She doesn't need to know where you're going. She's going to be there.
All right. Well, I absolutely love that. Well, Zoe, thank you so much for coming on Inside the Newsroom.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, Sydney, thank you again so much. And folks, we're going to be right back. We'll introduce you to some more people and get to know more of them that work here at KELOLAND. Welcome back. On the weekends, our anchors are also our producers. They lead the newsroom by writing, producing, and delivering the day's top stories. So let's bring in Carly Phillips now. Carly, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we are chatting all about everyone on our KELOLAND team, which means this is all about you. So first, let's talk a little bit about who Carly is.
Yeah, well, just to start, I guess I grew up in Sioux City, Iowa, so not too far down the road. And then I ended up going to the University of South Dakota for college, where I actually started as a business major. Not really for sure why I chose that, but ended up not liking it at all my freshman year. And that's when I kind of made the jump to try journalism, because I knew I always really liked writing when I was growing up. It's funny, I would actually sneak into my mom's office at home when I was a little girl and steal a bunch of her printer paper and make little books and write stories. And I would always get in a lot of trouble for stealing all her printer paper, but I should have known from that day that I wanted to be a storyteller, and then graduated college and started here at Kello.
Well, I absolutely love that story, Carly. That's such a cute and sweet story. So that's kind of, where your love for storytelling came in. So what would you say has been your favorite part about your job here at Kello, or your favorite story that you've done so far?
Yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite story. I think all of them definitely have a key role in kind of making me a better journalist, reporter, producer. But one of the things I've really enjoyed the most about being at Kello is the diversity of experience levels of people I've gotten to work with. There's a lot of people here who were in the same boat as me. It was their first job out of college, and they had just started and kind of figuring out the real world, I guess, and getting adjusted to that schedule, but then also having more seasoned reporters and people here who have been doing this for a long time that even now today I still kind of look up to and can go to if I need help writing a story and things like that.
Absolutely. Well, so this is the staple question I've been asking literally every single person that they come on, that comes on the show, and, we talk about, more about them and their work and their personal life. But what is your favorite Sioux Falls spot?
Ooh, that's challenging. Honestly, probably my favorite spot would be the farmer's market on a Saturday morning. I just love the atmosphere there, and I love looking at all the little local vendors and things like that, and probably spending way too much money on things. But I don't know, there's something about being there, and then being at Falls Park as well too, is always super cool. I love being at Falls Park in that area, downtown Sioux Falls. That's probably a very generic answer, but I think our downtown is really cool and really homey. So
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I think you're the first person who's given me the farmers market, if I can recall correctly. However, a lot of people do say parks or Falls Park and and downtown. But like you mentioned, our downtown, I think Sioux Falls has an amazing downtown.
it does, yeah, very unique for sure.
All right. So if people remember one thing about you, what is the one thing you think they should remember?
Ooh, I definitely enjoy trying new things. Every summer I make a little bucket list and I put it on my fridge of things I want to do this summer. So I'm still working on getting through it. But one of the things I wanted to do this summer was run a marathon, which I did do finally. It was a humbling experience, but I mean, I'm doing that. And then I also am trying to learn how to crochet this summer as well, too. Very slow right now, but we're getting there. And I feel like it's a good life skill to have. But yeah, I think just trying new things and trying to get out of like my comfort zone in a good way is something that I think I would want people to know about me. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, Carly, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing a little more about yourself.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this quick break. Welcome back. Whether you're watching your TV or reading our website, we have a dedicated team here at KELOLAND. So let's bring in our digital reporter, Marissa Brunkhorst. Now, Marissa, you're no stranger to the digital desk, but instead of talking about an article you've written, let's talk a little bit about you.
Oh boy, all right. What do you want to know?
Well, first, let's start with what makes Marissa Marissa.
You know, that's interesting. I think I just like to do a little bit of everything. I don't think I really sit still, even especially when I'm not at work. But even when I'm at work, like I'm always kind of bouncing around from seeing what other people are working on to seeing if I can help my fellow reporters in any way, whether that's with a contact or a visual, things like that. I think I try to stay pretty busy, whether that's talking with coworkers or even, outside work.
Absolutely. Well, I know you kind of make the rounds in the newsroom a little bit too, and so you're always like, "Hi, Joey," and I was like, "Hi." It's like, "What do you need?" And you're like,
I think there's not a day where I don't at least try to see everybody or say something to everybody.
No, I absolutely love that. It really makes my day because I'm just like, "Oh, someone's saying hi." I love that. So that's kind of a little bit about you. So what are some of your favorite things to do? So let's talk about maybe some hobbies you have.
Oh boy. Well, lately I've been really getting into pickleball. Sioux Falls parks have some nice pickleball courts, so I like to go to those with friends. Lately it's been kind of later at night because I'm trying to beat the heat, but yeah, definitely pickleball lately. I never thought I would get really into that because I wasn't athletic at all growing up, but that's a surprisingly approachable activity. In the wintertime, I'm crocheting. I make a lot of different crochet projects. I think I order a new craft supplies like once a week. I'm always just trying to see what I can do or see what I might be good at for crafts or art, things like that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to have to call you for some crochet tips because my son really likes to crochet, and we had a friend in Montana who would come and help him, and so we have a lot of crochet stuff just in his closet. But
yeah, I've tried a lot of different hobbies, and that is one that has like stuck with me for years and years. So I don't know what it is about it, but it's the best.
I absolutely love that. Well, so then let's talk. It's a question I've asked literally everyone as I have them on and I, introduce them and, allow viewers to get to know them a little bit. But what is your favorite Sioux Falls spot? And you can kind of interpret that however you want to, if you want it to be a location, a food spot, or whatever you want.
Wow, it's kind of hard because there are so many. Immediately what comes to mind is McKinnon Park. I spend actually a surprising amount of time there. I like to hammock there with friends. They just have so many trees. I would say I'm at Sioux Falls Parks a lot, just hanging out. Hammocking especially, though, in the summertime when it's nice.
Absolutely. Well, and that's a great spot as well.
Yeah.
So, Marissa, if you could tell viewers one thing, one sentence, or one word about what you do and why you love it, what would you tell them?
I think it's just, maybe it's not a word, but the word that comes to mind is like pursuit. Weirdly enough, because like every day is something different. I never know what I'm going to do when I come here. Like for the most part, like, you could even be assigned a story for the day and then something else happens or, your editor wants you to go somewhere else. So I think, and it's always like, I say pursuit because it's constant. You're always calling people. You're always looking for the next bit of information that could improve your story or give you that minor detail that could lead you down to the next story. Like, I think pursuit. that's what I would tell people about this job.
Absolutely. Well, I absolutely love that. Well, Marissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
All right, folks, when we come back, we'll sit down with a member of our sports crew. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, to wrap up our show, we're going to talk a little bit about sports. To do that, we are going to bring in our sports anchor and reporter, Kelsey Dennehy. Kelsey, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm always glad to sit down for Inside the Newsroom. It's one of my favorite spots.
Yes, well, and we love having you on here, and it's not, often that we get to have you on here. So for our viewers who maybe aren't watching you on the night newscast or on the weekend, talk to us a little more about who Kelsey is.
Who Kelsey is? Well, I am Kelsey, obviously. That's the easiest part, right? But I am born and raised Boston, Massachusetts. I graduated from Indiana University in May of 2025. And then that June, I moved out to Sioux Falls to pursue my career in sports broadcasting. And I have been here officially for over a year now, and had a blast telling the stories from across KELOLAND.
All right. Well, and talk to me a little bit about your favorite type of sports story to cover. If you're more of a story or like a highlights gal.
I am 10 out of 10 times a story gal. I do enjoy covering games and bringing back highlights for people who aren't be able to be there physically. And it's fun when you get those crazy plays and you get to kind of dissect them, especially with the rest of our sports team on like our Friday night sports zones, for example. But I love storytelling. That is why I got into this industry to begin with. And I find that it is the best and most effective way to get involved in the community, which at the end of the day, that's part of our job is to be involved in the community. And for me specifically, that's on the sports scene. So knowing about the teams, about the coaches, and about the different parts of their lives that maybe people who just casually watch sports don't know about. And that ranges from Division I college, SDSU, USD, Augie, USF, and D2, all the way down to high school athletics. And there's just so many amazing stories across KELOLAND. Our DMA is so large that I feel like we could tell so many more stories if we had the time and resources, because there's just so many great things happening, so much perseverance, so much willpower and grit coming from these athletes and these coaches. And I've had a great time getting to know a lot of them across this past year, and I look forward to continue doing so.
Absolutely. Well, so Kelsey, I also know you did some sports kind of growing up.
I did.
Talk to me a little bit about that, because it's one of the things that me and my fiance really like to watch, and that is hockey. And It blew my mind when you told me you played, because I'm like, to me, I love watching hockey, but I'm terrible if you get me out on the ice.
That's okay. It's easy to learn if you stick with it, but I did play hockey for 15 years. I was a left wing and then kind of a center. I took faceoffs mainly and then popped back over to the left side. But while I was doing that, I was also simultaneously in theater. So for my high school career, I was the captain of our hockey team, and I was also the president of our drama guild. And so that's kind of where the passion for broadcasting kind of melded. I've always done both my whole life and had a passion for both in different capacities. So when this became a career option, it really was a no-brainer, because I got to continue doing both of the things that I really love. And so that's great. I grew up in the hockey world. My dad works in hockey, and so that was pretty much our weekends growing up. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I grew a huge love for the sport. But then in my time at IU, I grew a huge love for other sports that I didn't really grow up watching. In basketball and football, obviously I watched the Patriots growing up, but little 7-year-old, 8-year-old Kelsey was really not that tuned into what they were doing besides winning. I just expected them to win all the time. I was spoiled rotten, and I still am with the Boston sports scene. But yeah, no, it was a great merge of passions for me, and I give all of that credit to my parents for allowing me to pursue both at the same time, because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here today.
I absolutely love that. So what did you think about the Sioux Falls Stampede winning the Clark Cup this year?
Oh, that was so much fun. Truthfully, when we were covering all of that, our sports department was Grant Sweeter, Ian Sachs, and I I was kind of the resident hockey reporter. If I could get my hands on a hockey story or covering a hockey game, I did. And by the end with Ian here, he knew like, oh, Kelsey will take the hockey game. And so I just had a blast. It was fun to get to know some of the fans that sat down in that lower bowl section and hear their perspective on things. Some of the workers in the building who have been around for so long and seeing their joy, as well as the team and what a great season they had, truly. Like, it's very rare to see such a dominant season, a 1 seed come out on top. Even though it sounds kind of silly, you expect that be the case, but it isn't. And to see what Ryan Crothers has done, not only for the Stampede, but also in the community, really engaging with the youth hockey program here in Sioux Falls has been a really cool thing to learn about and cover.
Absolutely. Well, Kelsey, it's a question I ask every single person when I have them on to, tell us a little more about themselves. And that is, what is your favorite Sioux Falls spot?
My favorite Sioux Falls spot? Oh, brother. I think my favorite Sioux Falls spot right now is actually, this is a no-brainer. I don't know why I thought too long about it. Jack Rose. I live by Jack Rose, but Jack Rose, my boyfriend actually found it whenever I first moved here because when he would come visit, it was one of the only places open after I got off work. So we would go have our date night at like 11 o'clock at night after I got off work, and Jack Rose was open. The kitchen was still open. Their apps are insanity. So good. Their dessert, we just started trying the butter cake. One of the waiters recommended it to us, and we're hooked. So good. They have great drinks, and it's just a nice atmosphere, especially in the summer. It's a beautiful outdoor spot as well. So I can confidently say that we frequent Jack Rose, and that is not stopping anytime soon.
I absolutely love their patio with patio season, and then their creme brulee cheesecake. Me and my fiance recently discovered Jack Rose, and so we absolutely
that one's on my list to try, so that's good to know.
You'll absolutely have to. Well, Kelsey, thank you so much for joining us and telling us a little more about yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, folks, that is all the time we have for Inside the Newsroom today. Make sure to join us every weekday at 1 and 7:30 right here on KELOLAND Plus for more Inside the Newsroom. Until next time, I'm Joey Taylor. Have a great day, everyone.